Hi, I'm James at Handle Life. I have a platform called Handle Life on the internet, and I'm primarily a travel blogger, brand ambassador, social media strategist for different clients in the hotel and restaurant industry. And typically when I travel, I try to be a carry-on only traveler, so my camera bag has to stay pretty light, and it has what I feel are essentials. I'm not a professional photographer, but part of my job entails a lot of photography. And I've included a few links down below to Peter McKinnon and also to Atola Visuals in San Francisco, two YouTubers that have been highly motivational for me learning and studying about photography and enjoying it. So anyway, when I travel light, I take two bags with me. My primary clothing bag and toiletries and my drone kit go in this Peak Design 45-liter travel bag. I'm not going to talk about it a lot today, but I just want to show you I travel with this bag. It's a backpack, and also my camera bag, a Lowepro 150 all-weather bag. This is what I'm going to talk about mostly today. So two backpacks, they're both pretty light. I can move pretty fast. I'm a travel blogger. I take a lot of pictures, but I'm not a professional photographer, so I have to keep my kit pretty slim. So let's talk about this to start with. The outside of this Lowepro 150 all-weather bag. It's AW because on the bottom there is a rain fly. I'm just going to deploy this fairly quickly so you can see it in service. Protects all your gadgets or your technologies pretty fast, pretty quick. Deploys quickly and you can put it away quickly. So when I fly, all my technology's in this bag. I have a little compact laptop. It's about a 10-inch laptop. My mobile, my cord kit, my technology kit with all my cords and adapters, all my batteries for my cameras, my microphones, and some of my backup technology that I use. Anyway, so back to this bag, Lowepro 150. It has a big compartment on the bottom and it has a smaller compartment on the top. We're going to get into the camera section in a second, but on the outside there's one asymmetric pocket for something. Right now I have a blunt Metro umbrella. I love it. It can also be a pocket for a Swell Bottle. There's a little tie down on top to keep things where they're supposed to be. Little bottle. I use a Joby Gorilla when I'm staying portable. When I'm not staying portable, this can also take more of a tripod. I have a tripod that I'm shooting this on with my Lumix G7. I'll show you that in a second with the mirror. But I could also put that tripod in here for a day if I'm shooting in the field. So anyway, that's the outside of this bag. One other little thing I want to show you is this quick release. It's a Peak Design base plate that's a quick release. It's called a capture. It's an all-metal capture. And I won't go into a lot of details on this, but this is where I can clip my camera and get it out of my hands when I have to write or take notes or do something that requires two-handed dexterity. So this is the capture plate from Peak Design. I'll go over all the pieces from Peak Design later on. On the side, there's a zippered pocket for a laptop, a compact portable like a combination tablet. I use it for a little bit of a rain fly or raincoat. This is a Patagonia Houdini, and it's called the Houdini because it folds almost into nothing. And for today's demo, I also keep my notebook and a pen here, field notes, important when you're a travel blogger, and a little bit of shopping bag to keep the earth green as can be. So the upper part of this bag, I'm going to open this up right now, has a little hat, field hat, keep the sun off. I'm using a STM cable roll, and that's what I have here. I don't know if you can see it. I'm not going to open this up, but it has chargers for 2 of the different cameras, 2 or 3 different USB cable combinations, converters, extra batteries, and extra film. So I'm going to set that aside for a second. I can also put, there's a couple of little anchors for my camera straps, different camera straps I use. You could also put in a snack or something to eat to keep you going when you're in the field. There's another little pocket on top, and then we're going to get into the camera bag at the bottom. But remember I said this was asymmetric. There's a pocket here, and you might think, oh, it'd be nice if there was another pocket here. But the design of this bag is such that when you have it on your back and you sling it around, you have quick access to the camera pocket. And you just have to open enough to get to your cameras. Right now, the void that I have here is where the G7 goes. I have another Lumix camera here that we're going to talk about in a second, and then I'm going to open up the rest of the bag once we start to get into the cameras. But you have quick access to your camera without taking your backpack off, and you can hide the zippers under the over panel to keep prying eyes away. So something else just quickly, one of the reasons I like this bag for my camera bag, look how narrow it is. It's narrow so that it doesn't impede your mobility with your shoulders when you have it on your back, and more so, it's tidy to get under airplane seats. And I've carried this on a major American airlines and also European airlines or Malaysian airlines that have real small carry-on factors. This slides under the seat in Iberia and Vueling in Spain easily, and you still have room for your feet. You still have access to all your technology, so you can keep track of it, because some of the camera things that I have and computer things I have, just like you, are kind of fragile, so I want to keep track of them. So anyway, 3 cameras. They're all Lumix cameras. The first one I call my little tourist camera. I keep it in the top pocket. Right off the bat, when I go into the field or when I start to travel, this goes in my pocket. And it's a typical little tourist camera. It has an LCD on the back. It has a fixed lens, but it does have a digital or electronic combination, so you can change from wide angle to zoom. One of the reasons I like Lumix, I just happened to start with them with this camera, and I lucked out. All 3 of my cameras take the same size SD card for film. That's pretty important, I believe. They take the same size card, so the film's interchangeable, and where I back the cards up to takes that card slot pretty easily. So all 3 Lumix cameras I'm going to talk about also shoot stills and video. I like this. It's pretty durable. It says it's waterproof. I'd say it's more water resistant. And I set all of my cameras, and this is something else that I feel is pretty important if you're a street or a tourist photographer, is I work with my flash off, and I work with the shutter sound off, so there's no shutter click. Sometimes you're in a scene that's nice, tranquil, quiet, and your subjects are in a peaceful environment. The last thing you want to do is have that shutter click. So I have my camera set to no flash, no shutter sound. And you can have some discreet street shots. Anyway, I really like this one a lot. It's durable. It goes in my pocket right away. I used to carry like a little GoPro knockoff camera, but this one works super good. It takes some super great shots. Some people might say, oh, I'll just use my phone. My phone's good for a lot of things, but I don't want to have it in my hand working as a camera, because my camera might get damaged and then I'm out of service on a camera. But when my phone gets damaged while I'm using it as a camera, then my phone's out of service to communicate. So I'd rather use this tool as a photographer, and it takes a little extra space. Okay, so great. Some other little odds and ends you can keep in here, some sweets, candies. One of the things I keep in here is this Peak Design cuff, and I'm going to go over that in a little bit too, so I'm going to keep that handy where I can see it. Before I open up the bottom part of the compartment, I keep referring to the space where the Lumix G7 goes, which is my third Lumix camera. And I just want to show you what I have set up, because both the Rode external microphone that you're going to see and also this camera fit in that lower part of the bag, but I had to use it today to take this movie. So, with the wonder of mirrors, we have a look at my tripod setup. My G7, Lumix G7 with the tilting, swiveling LCD panel. And then on top, it's kind of hard to see, but there is a Rode external microphone, which I highly recommend you shoot with to capture the sound. So part of my backpack has space for both that Rode microphone and that Lumix G7 camera. And I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, let's get back to the backpack. Okay, one of the nice things I said about this was you can have this on your back, and when you swing it around, you have quick access to the lower pockets to get to your camera equipment. You can see there's a void where that G7 goes. Lumix, there's another Lumix camera here. It's the ZS50. There's a more current model, but this is the one I have. There's also space for extra batteries, different cards. Let's start with this camera, and then I'll open up the whole bag. This is my second camera. So I have 3 Lumix cameras. Oh, where'd that one go? Okay, I lost that one already. But, oh, here it is. The first one was the this little Lumix. This particular model, there's a more current one on Amazon. This one is the TS30. I have it sleeved in this little Peak Design kit bag. Second camera I have is this ZS50, ZS50. And it's another Lumix camera. I like this because I treat this for my long distance camera. It's kind of a cheat. I don't like carrying extra lenses, so I have the little pocket camera. I have this mid-range camera that actually has more of a digital and physical telephoto lens. It goes out to 128 millimeters, and it shoots stills and it shoots video, and it has and I set this up again on all 3 of my cameras. No flash is set, no shutter sound is set, and the other thing I do on these cameras is there's a viewfinder that you can use your eye, and there's also the LCD screen. Sometimes I shoot away from my eye, but when I bring it up to my eye, I have these cameras set so that when I introduce my eye to that viewfinder, it turns off the LCD to save battery, and then I can see all the heads-up display for adjustments through that viewfinder. So this is real nice. It's not as waterproof. You can see on the edge of this camera, I have these little anchor points. These attachment points are quick releases, and they're from Peak Design, and I'll talk about those too. I have them set up on my G7 also, and it just makes it easier to change gears when you're working. So in the field, not so close up, still handheld. I have the strap on. Let me find that real quick. I have the Slide Lite from Peak Design. In this lower pocket, I have the Slide Lite, and it also has the anchor point. So when I'm in the field with this camera, in an urban environment or someplace where it needs to be a little more durable, I have my quick connections. I have my Peak Design Slide Lite, and I can either wear it crossbody, which I like to do because I can quickly move it out of the way, or I can wear it under a jacket or a dress jacket at dinner time, so that it's not as obvious, and it's not as obvious a target for a thief. So why do I keep talking about this Peak Design strap and these anchor points and how quickly they change? Well, sometimes in the field, I'm in a situation where I'd rather have, and this applies to my larger camera, the G7. I still have this anchor points that stay on here, and now I have the cuff in my hand. I have the cuff in my hand, and I have an attachment point to the camera so that it stays close to where I am and it swings out of the way. If I'm done with the camera, and this has a little magnetic feature to it, so it gets the cuff stays out of the way, but it's accessible quickly if I want to go back to work. So, peak design, it's the cuff, anchor points. Just coincidentally, they also have an anchor plate that goes with that capture. It's on the G7 right now, but on that tripod that I'm shooting from has a base plate that's an Arca base plate. So their capture base plate that stays on that camera with another quick clip slides right into my tripod, which is nice, real quick. So 3 Lumix cameras, they all take the same size film, SD card. I have all 3 of them set to no flash, no shutter sound. All 3 of them I have set so that when I introduce my eye to the viewfinder, it turns off the LCD to save battery. So those are the 3 cameras that I take in this bag. And for me, besides my drone setup, that's pretty much all I need. What else do I have in the bottom of this bag that's kind of interesting that I want to share with you? There's links for all these products down below. I'm an Amazon affiliate, so you can go right to Amazon and buy something that's listed in this video. If you buy something and you go through that link, it helps me out a little bit. But let's take a closer look at how I have this configured. Configured into different sections. I had my one Lumix camera here in this area. This open area is for the G7. This area here, I have some cleaning utensils, but this is where I pack the Rode microphone. There's a European or South American converter. There's a couple of batteries and a charger for the G7. There's some space here for another thing I always take in my bag when I am traveling or shooting in the field. It's a Gnarbox. And I include this in my kit for my bag because this Gnarbox, initially you would look at it and say, oh, it's an external battery, it's a external hard drive, it's a card reader. You can see on the edge it takes different cables and cards that you could read. And those are all good. Those are all good things. But the real thing that I like about this Gnarbox, together with the cell phone, is it gives you the ability to leave your portable or your laptop at home, because this Gnarbox has a digital processor built into it. When I turn this on, I make a Wi-Fi connection to this mobile phone that has the software installed. And all the heavy lifting, all the processing is done on this device, Gnarbox. And my visual output, or interface, is the phone. So it does do all those things. It's an external hard drive, it's a backup device, it's an external battery, it's a card reader, it's a mini computer with no screen that connects to your cell phone. When I back up my cards from my camera to this in the field so that I don't have to carry a lot of cards or lose track of what I'm shooting, because when I back up to this device, it automatically dates and creates a folder of the content that was on that SD card. I put it back in the camera, I format it, I go back to work, my work's backed up to here. I could back it up again quickly if I was connected to the internet, or I could back it up to even another external hard drive. But that's out of the scope of this video. That Peter McKinnon, who I favor as a photographer on YouTube, has a whole video on Gnarbox, and I'm going to link that down below. But so anyway, all the heavy lifting's done on this. You're in the field, you back up your SD card to this, you go back in action, you have that beautiful Instagram photo. All the social media is integrated into the software on this, so when you're on your phone and Wi-Fi, you see a picture. I use Polar on my cell phone to make any edits I want. I edit on the fly. I make the connection to my Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, whatever social media you favor or you present to. And you can have content up quickly. So for me, in the field, when I'm working with hotels and restaurants, it's important for me, if I have a good shot, things are timely, things age quickly on Instagram and Twitter, it's important for me to get those shots up for the client. It makes the client happy. So anyway, so what did we talk about? We talked about the 3 cameras. We talked about the things that go on the outside of this bag. We talked about why I like this bag for my go-to camera bag when I'm traveling. It's narrow, it's compact, fits under the seat, holds 3 cameras, it holds a Gnarbox, it holds my microphones. Once I get in the field, I can reconfigure this space to hold my drone kit, and then I'm doing drone business. I can move the cameras around. So